What made you want to do Call Her Daddy today?
Well, I think you and your listeners have really got this.
We shouldn't have been there. None of us should have been there.
Communicate with people is to be real, you know, and to talk about the things that people really care about. Our show is really about your listeners. And I think especially now, this is a moment in the country and in life where people really want to know they're seen and heard and that they're part of a community.
Everything's gone. It's all gone.
And so I'm really glad to be with you.
Oh no, she cares. Kamala cares a lot about the American public. Hence why she's over at the Call Her Daddy podcast talking about issues that the American people really need to hear about. Such important issues. Such as teaching women how to give that guac guac 2000, if you know what I mean. Welcome back to the MrShowTym showcast. Yeah. First of all, I'd like to express my deepest condolences to the family members who lost their dearest loved ones due to the Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton in North Carolina, Tennessee. You know, my deepest condolences to you. Sometimes in life we take for granted the things we have as opposed to what other countries don't have. And it's really for truly it's a give and take scenario. I hear Americans talk about how they should be lucky that they were born in America, and that while there's starving children in Africa, even though they never seem to specify which country in Africa, because in their minds, all African countries are the same, stereotypically in their minds, which is mostly, it's half true. And I say it's half true because really for truly, not all countries in Africa are the same. My country, South Africa, is the first world developed country. In northern, or should I say, central, eastern Africa, yeah, they are pretty poverty struck. So it's a give and take scenario because, yes, there are starving children in the central region, the central countries and eastern countries of the African continent. But it's not all African countries. Some African countries are pretty much doing well for themselves. Like again, mine in particular. It's also a give and take scenario because in America, I can say that I'm blessed to be born in one of the best countries in the world, South Africa. Because we don't really succumb to natural disasters as much as other countries do, such as, you know, in Japan, Southeast Asia, the United States, the eastern side of the country. Because they succumb to natural disasters, hurricanes and typhoons and tsunamis and monsoons, right? Whereas in my country, South Africa, we're fortunate because we have Madagascar from South Africa on the northeastern coast of South Africa. So Madagascar tends to take all of the hits for us, and by the time hurricanes and tsunamis and typhoons they reach our eastern side of the country, they've pretty much been weakened because they've glossed over Madagascar, and they've pretty much been weakened. So us in South Africa, we're fortunate because we don't succumb to weather disasters like that, weather phenomenons. Yes, in eastern side of our province, the coastal side of the KZN province, yeah, we do get occasional floods, but they're not deadly, as much as I've seen with regards to what's happening in America. But yeah, so yeah, man, it's an unfortunate incident. But coming back to the bigger crux of the problem, Vice President Kamala Harris, during the Biden-Harris administration, when Biden was the illegitimate president, she wasn't. Both of them weren't doing many interviews at all. Now, of course, Kamala is now starting to, go on this tirade, doing interviews, doing staged photo ops to try and convince the people that, oh, look, she's finally reaching out to the public and doing interviews. No, she's not really. I mean, even if she does decide to do interviews, she is terrible. From a PR standpoint, she is just utterly horrible. She's a horrible candidate. Terrible. Dear woman, dear black women specifically, you should be insulted. Because Kamala Harris is a quarter black, which doesn't really qualify as black. I mean, I know the one drop rule should really be disqualified. She should be disqualified. She is a descendant of slave owners. And of course, like I said, she went on this Call Her Daddy podcast to talk about how the government has no right to tell a woman what to do with her body. Yet at the same time, hindsight 2020, the government was hell-bent on telling people what to do with their bodies, trying to enforce us to take certain injections. She went on the Call Her Daddy podcast to talk about, by her own words, issues that people really care about, and she wants people to be heard. Meanwhile, people are suffering with the disasters, the aftermath of Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton. I'm seeing houses with water up to a chest level, waist level. The entire house just flooded. And she thought it would be a good idea that, hey, let me go talk about how women can improve their guac guac 2000 because so many men are in sexless marriages. This is an insult at this point. This is just a flat out insult. It's insulting. These people that are running us, they're just flat out laughing at you at this point. They're parroting us, they're mocking us. And anyone who still thinks it's a good idea to vote for Kamala Harris, you are disturbed. You are severely disturbed. Kamala Harris, I mean, for me, the most funniest highlight of them all, she went on Steve Colbert's show, and she chugged a beer on live TV.
Would you like to have a beer with me so I can tell people what that's like? Okay, so cheers. There
cheers.
You go. There you go. Ooh. Madam Vice President, thank you so much for being here. Cheers. Such a pleasure.
Hey, listen, it doesn't come as a surprise to me because, I always kind of suspected she was a drunkie. as a lot of the politicians are. You know, a lot of these politicians are staunch alcoholics, functioning alcoholics, drug users, and pill poppers. It doesn't surprise me one bit. You can tell Kamala Harris is an alcoholic. Just look at her neck. Just look at the wrinkles on her neck. And that's not due to aging. Not really. Not really. Ah, my goodness. Folks, they are just like, you know, Candace Owens and Andrew Tate said it best. When you have so much power, and so much money, and so much global control, you've already accomplished, you know, the biggest frontier, the final frontier. What is there to do? What's next to do on your to-do list? Pretty much nothing, except for turning into a psychopath and just playing with people. During 2020, that's what they did. These people who have a lot of time in their hands, they can travel anywhere, they have all the money in the world, and they're bored. They are bored. And since they're bored, they turn into these raging psychopaths, and now they're like, let's just screw with people. Let's just mess around with people. Let's create a fake hoax out there, and let's make him take a hokey pokey, and they're just behind the scenes just giggling, like they find it funny. They're playing us at this point. They are playing with your lives. They want nothing more than just crash the economy, destroy the first world nations of which they preside in, and just play with people and just watch people suffer. There's people on TikTok expressing their grievances, talking about how they lost loved ones, and FEMA is slow walking to the assist. Slow walking to the assist. Look, if you think politicians are incompetent, if you think politicians are dumb, you are dumb for thinking that politicians are dumb, because they're not. They're very much cunning, and they're that much smart. They're not dumb, they're not stupid, they're not incompetent. Yes, that goes for the Biden-Harris tampon Tim administration as well. All of them, they're not dumb. They do this on purpose. They are slow walking to give you service delivery. Poor service delivery on purpose. I'm hearing in states where they were advocating for defund the police, how now they're like, we're not going to send a response team until you send us blatant evidence that of a actual live streaming of a robbery in real time. Only then we might think of coming. On one hand, they're kind of teaching you a lesson. On the other hand, they're being sinister and sadistic. Because people need assistance. People need security assistance. Crimes happen out there. You need to respond in real time. But then again, my thing is this. You get what you vote for. You get what you vote for. Assuming elections are free, fair, and honest, and real, of which they've proven somewhat to be not to be real, of which they've proven not to be free, fair, and honest. Hindsight 2020. Yeah, look, it's really damning to be in America right now. You know, it's funny. I'm hearing some Hollywood celebs talking about if Trump wins, they're gonna leave America to go live in some other different country. Why didn't you leave in 2016 when Trump was in office? 2017 to be specific. Why didn't you leave when Trump was in office? That's what you said back then. You didn't leave then. But yeah, Kamala, man, she is She is something. We're only weeks away at the election at this point. And for what it's worth, I just want to wish the American public good luck. Because we, here in South Africa, I just want you to know this. We have overcame our government tyranny 34 years ago with Nelson Mandela as our talisman. The great, late Nelson Mandela. Americans need to believe that they can do it too. Via Donald J. Trump. We may never have another election ever again if things go left. No pun intended. Make sure you're on the right side of history. No pun intended. That's all I have to say for now. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, the Matrix has you. Follow the white rabbit. And don't fall for the psyops. Thanks so much for watching. Cheers.
Have empathy, man.
Yes.
For the suffering of other people. Have no sense of purpose